Welcome to Screw the Commute, the entrepreneurial podcast dedicated to getting you out of the car and into the money. With your host, lifelong entrepreneur and multimillionaire, Tom Antion.
Hey everybody, it's Tom here with episode 183 of Screw the Commute podcast. We've got Lane Belone here, and he is part of Vetrepreneurs Month. He is a Special Forces Green Beret who knows how to operate in risky situations, and I'll introduce him to you in a moment. Now, I hope you didn't miss Troy Broussard, episode 182. He was a self-described contrarian, and he is. He's also part of Vetrepreneurs Month, and he's got 3 homes. And I had to ask him, how do you live in 3 different homes? I don't know where to put my favorite stuff all of them in 3 different homes. All right, so please tell your friends about this podcast. It's a great thing for entrepreneurs and vetrepreneurs and people that want to be entrepreneurs and people struggling in their entrepreneurial journey, to give them tips. On Mondays, I do in-depth sessions on all things that have either made me a lot of money or saved me a lot of money. And on Wednesdays and Fridays, I do interviews with great entrepreneurs like Lane here, and all kinds of great tips and inspiration from it. So spread it around, and also tell them about our podcast apps that's in the Apple Store. You can go to screwthecommute.com/app. That's APP. And we've got instructions on how to use all the fancy features so you can take us with you on the road. Now, I also have a big freebie to thank you for listening to this podcast. It's my $27 ebook, How to Automate Your Business. And just one of the tips in this ebook has saved me over 7.5 million keystrokes. And other things in the book have allowed me to handle up to 150,000 subscribers and 40,000 customers without pulling my hair out. So check that out. If you hear anything in the background too, there's where Lane is, it's a big windstorm or something going on. So don't worry about it. He's been in a lot worse situations than that, I'll bet you. All right, our sponsor is the Internet Marketing Training Center of Virginia. Now, we are approved by the Department of Defense to participate in the MyCAA Military Spouse Scholarship Program. Now, just as a school and just as me, the founder, we give a $9,500 scholarship to anybody military, active duty, veterans, military spouses, law enforcement, and first responders, to thank them for all the things they do to keep us civvies safe. In addition to that, the Department of Defense gives military spouses that are eligible $4,000 so they can get a total of $13,500 towards their education. And that education on internet marketing skills they can use it anywhere in the world, and they don't have to take crappy jobs and then every time they move, take another crappy job. So we'll tell you more about that later, but you can check it out and everything we talk about today in the show notes. In this particular case, you can go directly to imtcva.org/military, imtcva.org/military. And then if you want to go directly to an episode, this is episode 183, you go to screwthecommute.com/183, and it'll take you directly to Lane's episode. All right, let's get to the main event. Lane Belone is a Special Forces Green Beret veteran turned high-performance coach. He uses his leadership experience in high-risk environments to develop business executive teams into laser-focused and empowered A-teams, which was one of my favorite shows back in the day. All right. Lane extracts what is already within using a process called creating space. So all involved step into their greatness. Lane, are you ready to screw the commute?
Let's do this.
How you doing, man?
Doing great. And again, apologies for the high winds here in Colorado. It just came up as we started this podcast.
Well, it's probably a lot better than what it is in Florida and coming up the coast right now with the hurricane that's coming up. So I think we'll live. So tell everybody what you're doing now, and then we'll take you back to see how you came up through your journey.
Yeah. So right now, I just like helping people do more of what they really want in life. And right now I'm really focused on entrepreneurs, business people, and specifically CEOs. And my business partner, Stephen Kuhn, which you just had on recently, we are focusing on CEOs to help them really fulfill their purpose and use their business as an expression of their individual purpose. And so it's a really awesome endeavor that we recently started, because we've been focusing on entrepreneurs for the past year, and we're focusing specifically on CEOs.
Now, you have a process called creating space. Can you go into that a little deeper? What does that mean?
Yeah, so earlier this year, Stephen and I, we were down in Peru, and we were discussing and talking about some of the stuff that we already do intuitively. And creating space is a name that something that we've been doing for decades now. And essentially what it is, it's doesn't matter if you're talking to an individual person, a group, an audience. There's this invisible space that you can create and allow people to step into this greatness. And you step into this space with no preconceived notions, no expectations, with only the intention to provide value in this interaction. And you never know what's going to happen, and including podcasts. And
Hmm.
so we are just stepping into this space and allowing our greatest selves to create something that's interesting, powerful, funny, whatever this moment calls for, this podcast calls for. And that's essentially what creating space is.
Yeah, and I think he found his wife that way. I don't know if you heard the story about that. She was, I guess, his boss or something. And he just came up and told her how beautiful she was, and she said, "Go in your office." And then he just left her
Yeah.
alone for a while, and then she came back after him and said, "Hey, was that only worth one try? What's up with you, man?" I guess that's
Yeah, it's exactly creating space right there. Yeah.
yeah. So I'm glad you say stepping in space, because a lot of people just step in it, and that's a whole different thing when they mess up.
Yeah. Yeah. We definitely don't want to do that
Yeah.
if we can help it.
Yeah. So you have a program coming up about this, right?
Yeah. So it's called the Humble Alpha CEO program, and it's specifically designed for CEOs. And essentially, it goes through several different stages, but allowing a CEO to really dig deep into who they really are. And of course, they have the CEO position. But what we're really doing is we're stripping their identity of their position, their role, their duties, and coming to the core of who they are as an individual person. And once that's figured out, man, it's a really powerful way of being in the world. And you can use this to basically using business as a tool to express your individual purpose. And it's a really powerful way to align yourself and really find ways to allow resonance to happen in an organic way.
All right. Now, is this something that the CEO wouldn't want everybody else to know he or she was going through, or is this something they brag about?
No, it's a thing that if you go through this process, and we've had many clients go through these stages or segments separately, but now we've put it all together into a full comprehensive program. And what it allows is a small community of like-minded people to build off of each other, to elevate each other. And it's not coming from a place of scarcity mindset, but more of an abundance mindset. So the more people that have this, if you want to call it training, or this mindset, or this extraction of purpose, all of these things, it's only going to make the world a better place. And it's going to actually allow CEOs to do more deals, make connections, do joint ventures with like-minded people that operate under the same principles that Stephen and I share, which is HIT,
Right.
honesty, integrity, and transparency. And so that is at the core of all of the stuff that we teach, not only in the program, but for everything in life, really.
So how is it delivered? How is this a group setting, or is this one-on-one, or combination? What?
Yeah, it's a combination of we have what we call a learning center, and that's already pre-recorded training, distilled information and knowledge, ready for them at any moment. We have group coaching, which is expert led, and then we also have masterminds, which is member driven or CEO driven, to where we're allowing the knowledge and wisdom from all of the people that are part of the program to help create solutions for each other.
Mm-hmm.
And then we also have, so a couple other resources that are really cool.
All right. So how do people find out about this?
Yeah, so they would need to go to qolenterprises.com, qolenterprises.com, and you can find out more information about the program.
Okay.
QOL stands for quality of life, which is something
Oh,
that Stephen and I, it's the end state of why we do everything that we do. And it's one of those things where at the end of each video that we do, we always have this kind of tagline that says, you know what it's all about, quality of life.
yeah.
And
Yeah. I've heard him
yeah,
say that. Yeah.
yeah.
So, okay. So that's qolenterprises.com. And that's, of course, will be in the show notes so they can just click on it if they're driving in the car or something. So let's take you back. So were you an entrepreneurial kid?
No, I wasn't. I was a Boy Scout and I was a sports guy. I
Okay.
love basketball, I love track, and I was very active in the Boy Scouts. And so that kind of exploratory nature and competition driven really allowed me to thrive and later in the military. But I didn't really have any experience or even really knowledge of entrepreneurship growing up. Small town, yeah, small town, about 5,000 people in Oklahoma, and entrepreneurship wasn't something that most people strive for, and I just stumbled upon it later in life.
So okay. So you went through the Boy Scouts, went through school. So how did you end up in the military?
Yeah, it's actually kind of an interesting story. So my best friend at the time, we were trying to decide what we were going to do after high school, and he was like, "Yeah, I heard something about this thing called the Army Rangers and stuff like that." I was like, "Oh, okay." I was like, "Well, yeah, but I was kind of thinking about college," and so we were like, "Well, I don't know what we're going to do." So we ended up playing rock paper scissors for both of our destinies, and
Oh man.
so my buddy AJ, he was like, okay, so if I win, we both go to the military, and if you win, we both go to college. And so, best two out of three, he won. We both joined.
That's career planning at the at its best right there.
Yeah.
Oh man, I never heard of such a thing there. So you signed up there in Oklahoma, then where'd you go to boot camp?
Yeah. So I went to Fort Jackson, South Carolina,
Hmm.
and that's where I went to basic. And I originally joined the military as an intel analyst, and I joined at 17. And in my mind, intel, I was like, okay, I'm going to be gathering information, intel on the ground, and all this kind of cool stuff. And that's not what it turned out to be. It was more of sitting behind a computer and doing that kind of stuff. And so, needless to say, about a year after I got to my first duty station, which was overseas in Germany, which I loved, and that sparked my passion for travel. But I decided, okay, I need to do something a little bit more challenging,
Yeah, you're a high
more,
performance guy. I mean, you can't sit there all day
yeah,
long.
yeah, and and it took me a little while to kind of get used to the military, the army, and but I came to the realization to try out for this thing called Special Forces. I saw a flyer on the shopette door, and it said, "Hey, come to the auditorium, and you can check out what this is." And I was like, "Oh, I have no idea what it is." And so,
So you went up
if you can,
to the leader of the group. Says, let's do some rock paper scissors. See if I should be here.
yeah, well, I think that was the only time I ever allowed rock paper scissors to decide a major decision in life. But I still do rock paper scissors for small things in life, like
Oh.
going out to eat and stuff. But so I walk into this auditorium, and it's one of those old school auditoriums, and have a bunch of bench seats, and with a projector playing a video, at the front. And so as I was walking in, I saw this video playing, and it was guys blowing stuff up, jumping out of airplanes, shooting cool guns, just doing all this crazy military cool stuff. And I'm just like, I haven't done most of that or almost all of that. And I was like, I don't know what it is, but I think I want to try out for it. So I they talk about what it is kind of, and it's kind of secretive and all this kind of stuff, and say, well, okay, well, if you're interested, you can join the Special Forces Assessment and Selection. And so I ended up joining a couple months later, and that was a whole ordeal of itself. 3 weeks of grueling tests of personal fortitude.
That's just the test to get in, right? That wasn't the actual training, right?
Yeah, it's just to see if you got what it
Right.
takes to join the 2-year Special Forces qualification course. So yeah, I ended up attending SFAS is what they call it, selection, and end up passing and stuff like that. And then going through 2 years of incredible, mind-blowing training, and so many life lessons in those 2 years, that at the end of it, you become the very minimal Green Beret, even through those 2 years of grueling training. And the attrition rate is somewhere around 2 or 3%
I
for
was
all
going to
those that
ask you that.
try out.
Wait,
Yeah.
wait. When you say attrition, you mean only 2 to 3% make it, or 2 or 3% wash out?
Yeah. So from all the people that attempt to join any special forces training, only about 2 or 3% actually earn and graduate
Make it.
the qualification course
And
and earn the Green Beret.
is this after the first test to see if you have any chance at all, or is that starting before you did that testing?
Yeah, it starts at the Special Forces Assessment and Selection
Okay,
process.
so right there,
Yeah.
only 2 to 3% make it all the way.
Yeah.
Wow. And you say you're a minimal green beret. What does that mean?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
you get a smaller hat or something?
no, so you have all this training and this knowledge and experience, and you have also your regular military experience. But as soon as you go to the A team, the Operational Detachment Alpha, the ODA is what they call it, you are a brand new Green Beret, and you pretty much know nothing.
Right.
As much as you learned in the Q course, you are joining very specialized, highly trained, highly experienced Green Berets, and you join the team, and you're like, okay, I thought I knew a lot, but actually I don't know much.
Yeah.
And so then the process of uh, being the lowest man on the totem pole, so to speak, begins again.
Yeah, wow. Now, do you have to commit to longer, like if you are chosen to go into a special forces program, do you have to commit to a longer stay in the military?
It's about the same as any other commitment in the military or in the Army specifically, and it goes by enlistments. And so normally it's about 3 or 4 years after you don your Green Beret. And then after that, it's just a normal military enlistment every 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years, depending on your contract. Then you just, they call it re upping, or
Right,
you
right.
sign a new enlistment contract.
Yeah, I'm just saying from somebody just goes in with a 4-year commitment, if 2 years of that were, or almost 3 years probably of training, and then you get out, that's kind of a waste, right?
Yeah, yeah. There's a commitment, but it's not a lifetime
I see.
contract or anything like that.
All right. So how long did you stay in that?
8 years.
8 years. All right. And then when you're starting to know that you're coming to an end of your run, what were you thinking? Get a
Yeah, so
job?
that was the
What am
most
I
difficult,
Yeah.
yeah, difficult decision, because when you're really good at something and you're efficient, proficient, and skilled, it's difficult to leave that profession
Hmm.
for something unknown. But ultimately, it came down to uh, two major factors. And the first one, of course, was family, and to be able to provide for the family, future family, and being able to have the quality time with my wife and do the things that we want to do and have
Now,
more control.
when
Because
did you get married? Was it during the time you were in special forces?
yeah, I was right in the middle of it. So my wife got uh, plenty of experience of me traveling, deploying, and going on missions. And it's a difficult thing for the family to to have the husband or the spouse to be gone for months at a time.
Yeah, I'll bet. Now, and is it really like you see on TV? Like all of a sudden you get a text or a beeper and you got to run. You just got to go.
Yeah, so there's specialized units within Special Forces that I was a part of that operated like that. You had to basically drop at a moment's notice. There's they have specific time windows and stuff, but quick recalls for, hey, you got to be back at the unit, and then we got to go do something, kind of thing.
Yeah,
So
boy,
yeah,
that's got to be
that was
hard
part of
on
the
a
deal.
family. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, yeah, and and that also takes away from traveling. Being stationed in Europe, affords you the opportunity to travel, and sometimes you can't because of that limitation of
Wow.
being on a recall.
Hmm.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
the family was the first factor, and the second one was a more of an individual or personal factor, and that was me knowing that I had a mission in life that was greater than my military service. I will always be appreciative of my military experience and service, and um, so many great people and leaders developing myself and helping me and guiding me every step of the way. But ultimately, I knew that I needed to do something different and help people in a different way. So that towards the end of my service, I was in efforts of helping people, and I didn't know what I was doing. I was just helping people with what I knew, and that's how I decided to get out and pursue something that was unknown to me and stepping into this entrepreneurship. And it was a difficult time to decide, but I knew that was the right answer, and that's what we did.
You decided before you got out, or it took a little buffer period after you got out?
Yeah, so I basically decided not to enlist in a new contract
Hmm.
with the military. And so I had a little bit of runway, so to speak, to plan and to strategize, so to speak, on what I was going to do after the military. And my specific strategy was to have the first 12 months lined up after I got out of the military. And so that was my strategy. Worked out pretty well. It gave me enough time to think about what I wanted to do, to take action on what I wanted to do, to experiment, because there was a lot of course, entrepreneurs, so much experimentation, and so that's what allowed me to be successful in this transitional period, which was, it's a anytime you transition from career to career or any big change in life, that transitional period is always difficult, and the better you can set things to your favor, the the more or the easier it is mentally because
Right,
because
right.
it's tough. Any transition's tough, but the better you can prepare yourself in all different kinds of ways, will help you on your journey.
Now, are you saying that you gave yourself 12 months after getting out to work on this and figure out how it was going to play out? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, exactly. And actually, the first 3 months, my wife and I, we returned back to the U.S. and we did a 3-month road trip across America, spanning 37
Oh,
states.
wow.
Saw a whole bunch of friends and family, and places that we haven't seen because we had traveled quite a bit together as a married couple. I think about 20 countries up until that point,
Gee.
and but we were like, yeah, we haven't really explored much of the U.S. And so the U.S. is incredibly beautiful, and there's so much diversity, not only in culture, but in terrain, geographically speaking, and all that. And so that's what we wanted to do when we got out. And so it was a very liberating feeling, just roaming the U.S., driving around and exploring.
Yeah,
And
wow.
yeah, so that was part of the 12-month plan. It was to just decompress, enjoy, relax, and essentially, and really embedding that quality of life mindset.
All right, so how did you actually I mean, did you start a business? Did you make a LLC, or did you just become a sole proprietor, and how did you get the word out that you had things that you could help people with?
Yeah, so it first started out with travel, and so I started helping people travel, and for me, travel is a tool for transformation, and it's a mindset and a process and a strategy, so to speak, to use travel advantageously to grow as a person. And so that's where it started out, and that was a solopreneurship,
Well, when
and
you say
which
helping them with
eventually,
travel, what do you mean? The logistics of it, or keeping safe, or what with regard to travel?
yeah, so it was the whole gambit, and it was safety, it was planning, it was mindset. So it was a whole encompassing thing, especially safety. With my military and
Right,
special forces
right,
background, was yeah, it was very beneficial for anybody that I worked with, and I didn't get a lot of success with my travel endeavors, and but what that did lead me to was meeting up with my now business partner, Stephen Kuhn. And we actually met on one of these journeys down in Peru.
ah, okay,
Yeah, and that's how we actually met in person in Peru. Beforehand, we had met online, and what we are a part of and now leaders of the Vetpreneur tribe,
right,
and which is about 13,000 plus right about now. And we had met online, and we chit chatting, and getting to know each other. And then one thing led to another, and we found ourselves both down in Peru, and that's where we met. And then just a lot of incredible things have happened since then, and a lot of synthesizing, and it's just a partnership made in heaven.
So he's involved in this the Q thing that you're talking about, right?
Yeah, yeah. Him and I are co-founders.
Great, great, great. So we got to take a brief sponsor break, and when we come back, we're going to ask, what's a typical day like for you? So,
Sounds good.
all right. So, folks, since this is Veterans Month, I want to tell you a little bit more about how my school supports military families and how our training can help them. First of all, we give a 50% or a $9,500 scholarship to thank them for their service. And this applies to active duty or veterans. Then, for eligible military spouses, the DoD gives them an additional $4,000. And the reason this is perfect for military families, and I know this firsthand because living in the Virginia Beach, Norfolk area, probably the biggest collection of military in the world, spouses here normally have to take crappy jobs at lower than average pay because employers know they're going to get deployed, and the employers don't want to invest a lot of money in people they know will be leaving. So, and then the spouse has to get deployed and find another crappy job in a new location. So with internet marketing training, companies don't care where you live. You can work legitimately from home. If you get deployed somewhere else, it doesn't matter. You can still be handling social media and email marketing and shopping cart stuff and customer service and all the other things that every business on earth needs. And not only that, you can study at home with no expenses, no books, no travel or childcare expenses. So it's just perfect for military families. And one more thing, you can also sell your own stuff. You can create ebooks, you can create online courses, membership sites, things like that. So it's just perfect for military families. So I'm thrilled to be involved in it and be able to help them with this. So check it all out at imtcva.org/military. imtcva.org/military. And remember, it's distance learning, so you can be anywhere in the world. You can get an internet connection and take the training. And then give me a call. I'll be thrilled to tell you all about it and support your military family. All right, let's get back to the main event. We've got Lane Belone here. And Lane, what's a typical day look like for you now?
Yeah, so when I wake up, the first thing I do is I do a meditation, and we kind of talked about this before the podcast. Is I actually record my own meditation sequence, and what this does is it really primes my day to get in this incredible state of mind and to allow just everything to happen exactly how they should for this particular day. And so after this meditation, I drink some water, and so I actually do a fasting fast.
Mm-hmm.
It's called time restricted feeding,
Mm-hmm.
intermittent fasting.
Intermittent fasting.
And
Yeah,
so,
that's what I do.
yeah. So my first meal of the day isn't until about 11 or 12 in the
Mm-hmm.
morning. And but I drink coffee, and I get my highest creative works done from about 8 to 10 or 11, generally speaking. And then after that, it's just replying to emails, connecting with people online, uh, creating content for clients or coach working. And so, yeah, it's a process of allowing what needs to happen that day, and as appointments or calls happen, they happen, and that's pretty much how it goes every single day.
Well, I think you ought to make a product out of that recorded meditation, and you could just send it to me, and then I could play it while I'm sleeping. How about that? Is that how it works? No, I guess that's not how it works. What do you do? Why do you record the meditation? I don't get that. I thought you have to meditate, and then you're kind of quiet. And what are you recording exactly?
Yeah, so there's all kinds of different kinds of meditation. There's no wrong way to meditate. And for me, the meditation that I've created is a specific sequence to prompt me to think about or to meditate on a specific thing. And it's so there's a difference between affirmations and prompts. And so affirmations are a very specifically worded, specific verbiage of something that you want to say or think or feel. But for me, a prompt allows me to organically think about or feel what I need to feel for that moment. And so there's a slight difference between those, but the difference between them are very powerful. And so this meditation is more of a prompt on what to for me to meditate and think upon for the day. And so, for instance, it'll be how, it starts out with, today is a great day. And then
Hmm.
I say, feel why it's great. And so during this process, I'm just thinking about why today is going to be a great day. And so I just envision what's going to happen, feel what's going to happen, and that automatically sets me into this really incredible state of mind to where, yeah, today's going to be a great day. It doesn't
Hmm.
matter what's going to happen. Even if it's filled with fires I have to put out, intense, labor intensive, digital work, whatever it is, content creation, all these, it doesn't matter what's going to happen because I know that it's going to lead to impact. And so just by these small prompts, I'm able to really just feel it. And then because I come from that space or that position or that state of mind, then things just happen during the day that they just need to happen.
Hmm.
And it's just allowing synchronicity to happen.
Yeah, when it keeps you in the right mindset, because if you're always thinking bad stuff's going to happen, it just makes it worse whenever things
Yeah,
challenges come up.
when it
Yeah,
rains, it
yeah.
pours, and yeah, and so I'm taking the same concept of when it rains, it pours, and instead of it being bad stuff, it's just good stuff.
When it's yeah, when it's sunny, it's sunny. So this is really great getting to hear your story, man. Because I'm going to really go back and suggest maybe even make some training on rock paper scissors for people because
It's a powerful tool.
it's a powerful tool. So
Yeah.
you get high performance out of CEOs. So any CEOs listening, what if they're not a CEO? What if they just want they love your story and they want to be a better high performance person? Do you have anything? Do you do any coaching? You do anything for individuals?
Yeah, yeah. That information will also be on the website. But yeah, right now we're specifically focusing
Right,
on
right.
CEOs. But for the past 12 months, we've been helping all kinds of entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, entrepreneurs
Hmm.
with 5 employees, 10 employees, people that are just now getting started that don't have a company, but they're thinking about it and they have a business idea. So Stephen and I, we work with all kinds of entrepreneurs or those aspiring to become entrepreneurs. So yeah, just contact us, and we'll help in any way that we can because ultimately creating impact is at the heart of why we do what we do.
Yeah, and it's all about quality of life, man.
Absolutely, it's all about quality of life.
Hey, I'm gonna try to get some SEER training off you in case I put out a bad product and people are trying to get me. so I can hide from.
Well, I'll be seeing you soon, so we can definitely
Okay.
discuss that in person.
All right. Well, thanks so much for taking the time to be on. Everybody, check out the site in the show notes. So give it to them again.
QOLenterprises.com.
QOL, qualityoflifeenterprises.com. Thanks so much, Lane. I'll be seeing you at the I'll have already seen you by the time this plays at the Military Influencers Conference, or I'm going to be addressing the Business Accelerator group there. So I'm looking forward to that. Although, no, I should say I'm looking backwards to that. It was great. Yeah, it was wonderful.
Yeah.
I get mixed up on these things. But anyway,
we had a great time.
We had a great time. That's absolutely true. All right, man. So thanks so much, and we'll catch